Alrighty, we are back. It's Sunday night rumblings, and we got the usual Sunday night crew in tonight. We have Stephen Phillips from Phillips Run, Drip, and Bubble Company.
That'd be him up there. There he is, right there.
We got John Wordon from Eastern Hot Rodder.
Right there.
That's him.
Bill from Flat Bloke Garage, and I'm Brett from Copperhead Kustoms. And tonight we also have a special guest. We have Ryan Brutt from the Auto Archaeologist.
Hey guys, how's it going?
Ryan?
Good to be here.
How are you, mate?
Yeah, tired. I just got back from another adventure, so didn't even get a chance to shower, so I jumped on real quick.
I thought we smelled something. I was wondering what that was. Now we know.
Totally me. Total. I am not denying that.
Man, you go to all these places. I don't want to jump in here too quick, but I'm bad to do that.
You're good.
How many do you? I mean, if I go, I'm like, I've got to have this. I got to have that. I got to have the other. Do you not ever bring anything home?
Very, very rarely. Most of the stuff that I find isn't available for sale.
Right.
I'm there primarily to document the stuff, but I always leave them with that idea of, if you ever want to sell this, whatever, CUDA or Challenger, or Mustang, here's my card. Either I could try to buy it, or I know people who would be interested in it,
Right.
And they won't try to dick you around. They won't give you, I'll try to haul that Hemi CUDA out of your backyard for $50 kind of spiel. They also, I have brought stuff home in the past. It's rare and few and far in between, but it does happen.
So now, how long you been involved in this auto
archaeology?
Thank you for helping me with that.
Yeah, no problem. I know it's a long name, but it's very precise for what I do. I've been doing this for about 20 years. I wasn't doing it very seriously up until about 10 years ago.
Right.
And but I did my first barn find adventure in 1998-ish. I found a 71 CUDA in a guy's garage in Chicago, and it legitimately, that was the car. I mean, I wasn't into cars much before that, but I found this 71 CUDA sitting in a garage, and it flipped the switch in my head, and ever since then I've been hunting cars.
That's cool. You know what's cool about that? It's a good thing you didn't find something like a Yugo instead.
Yeah.
I will say though, on the way there, I saw a 78 Mustang 2 in a driveway for $500, and I was like, that's kind of a neat car. And thank goodness I found the CUDA about 5 minutes later, and totally forgot about I actually went back and took a picture of the Mustang, but just like to figure out what it was. But yeah, no, that CUDA thankfully flipped the switch. Not
they say what they want to about them Mustangs. Farrah Fawcett drove one of them.
Did.
Yeah, if it's good enough for her, it's good enough for me.
Yeah, I mean, if you guys ever watch any of the Marvel movies, in Guardians of the Galaxy 2, the beginning of the movie, they drive a really beautiful blue Cobra, 660, 78. Yeah, beautiful car. And actually,
Russell was driving it,
with the T-tops.
Yeah.
We got Tim B. Hi, everyone. Hey, Tim.
Hey, Tim. I think one of the things that I always liked was how you kept everything, you keep things kind of anonymous so people can't track the guy down easy and bug him.
That's
like, absolutely
give a region because it saves Steve a lot of money.
Yeah, that is one of my main selling points. Is I don't share where they are, who they are. I just want the history, the story of the car. Because why is this Hemi CUDA sitting in your backyard with a grapevines growing around the engine? Sure. And that's enough for me. I mean, yes, it'd be great if I could save it, but it still exists, and that's a awesome fact.
So what was the car that of all the cars you found, and I know you found some pretty crazy stuff, but what is the one that sticks out as like the holy crap, I can't believe I found this thing just sitting here rotting away?
Well, yeah, it depends on what kind of make and model you want. About a decade ago, I was told about a Mopar guy out in the Midwest, and it was right after I got David Freiberger from Roadkill hired me at Hot Rod Magazine like 11 years ago. And so right after the first issue came out with me in it, I did a story on a 69 Daytona original owner car that I did a story on. And that's one of my, I post about it every year because I go and visit them. But so I had that issue with me, and I go visit this Mopar guy, and he was driving like a 90s Dodge truck, beat up piece of junk. And he goes, "Oh yeah." So we're talking I'm like, here's an issue of Hot Rod Magazine that I'm in. I show you. I don't share who you are, what you're doing, yada yada. He goes, "Oh, cool." Yeah, flips it up. He's like, "Oh, it's a Daytona. Okay, I have one of those cars that makes that car." And I'm like, "Okay." He means a '69 Charger. I mean, because that's a Daytona is based off of a '69 Charger. And we go out to this tractor shed, and he was very specific. It was a tractor shed because there was 3 big doors for the tractors to pull through. It wasn't a barn. And there in the tractor shed was a '69 Charger 500 Hemi car with a 4-speed, and it had sunk into the mud up into the first lug nuts. And it's a blue car, blue interior, total crazy. I mean, one of 3 built ever. And here was this car in a tractor shed.
Wow.
Blew me away. It's one of my favorite. You walk in and my jaw hit the floor. And it was absolutely insane.
What about that Chevelle, that SS Chevelle convertible?
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
That's another great one. I did a video on that one like 6 months ago. Oh, wait, it was in November. But yeah, a 70 Chevelle SS 454 LS5 4-speed convertible with air conditioning. Only one in any registry to exist with that kind of combination. And the guy was in the military, special ordered it, brought it home, blew it up a few times, parked it out in his field for 45 years. Wow. And one of one, probably the most rarest, I'm sorry, it is the rarest, highest option Chevelle 70 SS convertible. Like, it's even rarer than LS6 Chevelles, the higher horsepower ones. Yeah, because he had actually ordered the LS6 Chevelle convertible, blah, blah, blah. But you couldn't get an LS6 with air conditioning because the AC compressor couldn't keep up with the RPM, they say. So they downgraded him to LS5. So it's actually extremely rare. And it legitimately, if you see the pictures and video, it was sitting in this guy's yard so long a tree had fallen on it, and it had sunk up to the body panels in the mud.
Wow. What was one of the oldest cars you've tracked in? Because I know most of the stuff you do is muscle car stuff.
Yeah.
But was there anything you've actually, like, I know some of the stuff you've gone to look at muscle cars and found a bunch of other stuff around, but was there one where you actually went on a hunt for a 1940s or 1950s something, or do you kind of target the muscle car stuff more than for a reason?
I always say I look for cool stuff, whatever is cool. Like I don't look for a 50 or a 50, four-door Dodge Coronet with an inline or a flathead 4. Right. But the oldest, I found like Model Ts and Model As and such. Sure. The oldest cars, I found a Duesenberg in a shed in Indiana. Yeah. Oh, wow. And trees growing. I mean, it used to be a big property. And it was a horse stable that had been converted into a car barn, but not very well. And something had happened to it. I think he was a doctor, and then he lost something happened, and they parked the car in this shed, this converted horse barn. It was a little one. It was it would be considered like a 1-car garage nowadays. And there it was, sunk in the mud, trees, I kid you not, bigger than my, wrist, growing up around the doors and all of that. It had, single pane glass side windows, and I could only get a handful of pictures through the glass of this car because he clearly Duesenberg on the front and, with the big rims and all that. I have no idea what model it is. I looked it up a long time ago, but I was sworn to secrecy on because the family, the generation still lived there, but they were all old and crazy, but they let me take pictures. I just could never share them or say where it is.
Talking about there, old and crazy.
Yeah. So, I found that's probably the oldest, craziest car that I've ever found like that.
Wow.
That's pretty cool.
Copperhead, what kind of comments we got, man? I know you're putting some up.
Yeah, I'm trying to get there. We got unfinished project, says W300.
Those are great Dodge trucks.
Says capital punishment.
We'll have the motor in that next week.
And the D600, the big truck.
Yeah, I just bought that.
That's
I don't know what I'm going to do with it, but I got her, boys.
We got Tim B says, hi, everyone.
Bud.
Unfinished project says, goat, turquoise, white horns. Don't know.
Is
that a color combo? the greatest of all time, turquoise with white horns. Does that make more sense?
Yep.
Maybe GTO.
White horn.
Yeah, it could be GTO or something.
Yeah.
Everything guy says hello, everyone.
Hey, bub.
Sasha St. James is practicing her American. Says hi, y'all.
That's Southern even.
We're Southern American.
Oh,
Yeah.
very
Yeah.
specific
She's
location.
practicing her Southern American for when we move over. Metal Mania 3D TV. Hi, Bill, and hi to you other guys. KC, Tasmania, Australia here. Cheers. Couple of beers.
Hey,
And we
Casey.
have
I find it funny that the guy from Tasmania, which is off the coast of Australia, specifically singles out Bill to say hi, not the Australian guy on the show.
Yeah, well, they just say good day to each other, and that's it.
Old Car Discover and Finder. I remember the story about that Chevelle convertible.
Cool. Glad he enjoyed it, I hope.
And we also have Alan's Cars and Stuff who says hello, guys. Hello, Alan.
Hello. We're glad y'all here. I'm gonna have to check out that Metal Mania 3D, see what he's got going on. Now, you got one right now that is just as far as the one you're working on. That dang CUDA you've been posting on. I mean, that's like the holy grail, man.
Yeah, that the Rapid Transit System CUDA. That is probably the. I mean, even with the Duesenberg. I mean, they only made one RTS CUDA. I mean, it was completely custom made, for the tour back in 69, 70 timeframe for the 70 tour.
Did they not run it 2 years?
They did. They did the RTS tour for 70 and 71, and the car was green in 70. Well, crazy green. And then in 71, it's the orange that you see now.
Okay.
I remember as a kid seeing that in magazines. I remember seeing that car in magazines, and then all of a sudden it come up. I'm like, man, I remember that when I was a kid. I mean, how does it look though? I mean, and why is it not been took better care of? I know that's a crazy question, but
I mean, really, it's been taken care of for the ability that the guy could. It's legitimately been sitting in a garage since the guy said 76, but we're thinking it's closer to 79 because in one of the pictures we have of the car, it's sitting in the parking lot of a mall in Detroit, and you can see behind it's a 79 Grand Prix, like a G-Body Grand Prix, but it legitimately was pulled into his garage and then never touched. And I don't mean like he worked around it. No, it was never touched. 967 miles on the odometer as of when I checked it out. I know it's moved around a little bit since.
Right.
But it was perfect. Other than there was a few little some not garbage, but it's like you can see something may have gotten in the car, but it may have just been like debris from being used a little bit.
Right.
But the car is perfect. I mean, there's a few scrapes, a few bumps. There's the lacquer paint because it's 2 layers thick. Because I should say it's 3 layers thick because there's the original paint, which is red, then the 70 paint job, which is that green combo. And if you watch the video, they didn't have time to sand it all down and start fresh. So they just painted over, they buffed, they give it a little scuff, and then they painted it the orange and white that you see now. So other than cracking from the lacquer, it's perfect.
But that car don't need to be touched at all. I mean, it just needs to be left alone. Any ideas what they're planning on doing with it? I mean, this is going to be one of them things like the Bullet Mustang. They're going to take it to auction, or?
Yep. As of right now, that's how come I was able to release the information on it. Is it's going to be at the Indianapolis Mecum event next month, up for auction with no reserve.
Really?
So what do you think? Where's the educational guys that's figuring out what this car is going to bring? What's this car going to bring?
Well, I have a good idea. I mean, if you guys want to speculate first, I have a through line that I can explain that will give you guys a good idea. But what do you guys think?
I'm gonna say $1 million.
I don't think it's going to bring bullet money.
No, I don't think it'll be blow money. I will say it will be much more than $1,000 though.
No,
come on.
Way more. One ballpark between 1,000 and 45 million.
Oh, come
on.
Hey, I'll be right. I'm telling you.
That spectrum.
1.5 maybe.
Copperhead's anybody commenting what they think?
Yeah. What's a normal CUDA worth?
A normal 6-pack CUDA goes for usually in the hundreds, somewhere like 125, 150, depending on options and such. In an unrestored condition like that.
That's U.S. dollars.
That's U.S.
Yeah.
I bet you, Steve. I think you're right, man. I think it'll probably bring something close to $1 million because it's got that history in that provenance.
Come on, you got John. Pick your own number. Don't pick my number.
I'm going to say 500. I'm saying
I did
750. I'll do 750 then.
Oh, so we got 500,000, 750,000. How much you say, flat broke?
1.5.
I'm at $1 million. Okay, what do you?
Okay,
so we got Tim B. Hadn't we got anybody commenting?
Yeah, we got old car discover and finder says just call me car old. Mike Eben says hi guys. And car old, we'll call him car old, says yeah, like how you found the original signage when it was displayed back in the day.
That's cool.
Yeah, that was really cool to find the original sign.
Hey, they're with me on this one. Timmy B says 500,000. And Aviation DNA said normal wood 95 Mecum. It will bring 450. I think he means 450,000.
Yeah, probably.
And Griffo says 800,000.
Okay.
What
do you say?
Well, let me explain why I think this. Okay, so the RTS CUDA is one of 4 custom cars that were made for the Rapid Transit Tour. There was a Duster, there was a 70 Roadrunner, a 71 Roadrunner, and then the CUDA. And I explained it all in the video. Well, all those cars, like the closest one to the CUDA is the 71 Roadrunner. The 71 Roadrunner is the same colors. It's also a Survivor, so it's also, I mean, it actually runs. It's also a 6-pack car. It's also, I think it's 4-speed, can't remember. But so equating to that car sold with the Steve Giuliano Providence of that whole auction. It only sold for 350, I think.
Wow.
Yeah, I mean that was I think the Hemi Roadrunner went for 380.
Wow.
So yes, this car is cool and unique, but it's also really weird, and it doesn't have a lot of history. I mean, yes, it's a Survivor and it's untouched original, but I don't think it's going to do 500,000. I think it will probably be 400-ish in that ballpark.
Well, there you go,
Ryan. That down. But now, it is a CUDA. It is a CUDA.
It is a CUDA, but like I said, the Hemi Roadrunner, which was cooler because it was in its 1970 style. Now they never converted to 71 because it was they took it off the road because of the new body style. It's a Hemi car. It's a legitimate Hemi car with all the original engine, the original transmission. It had been restored because the paint had been really badly damaged, but it only went for like 300. And it had the provenance of having that whole Steve Giuliano auction and all that behind it, and a lot of money in the room. And it still didn't make the money that they thought it was going to make.
Of course, you know more about this than I do, but I know, like, I did that video on that the Burt Reynolds Trans Am, the Hooper car.
Yep.
And it was at a local place here, and the guy passed away. They took it to auction. I did a video on that thing and put it on. Everybody was interested in it. The car brought like $90,000 the first time at auction, I think.
Yeah.
So for 2 weeks ago, 40,000. So it brought half of what it brought the first time.
Well,
and it was one of Burt Reynolds, definitely his car, title in his name with his signatures all over it. 40 grand's what that car brought.
Well, I mean,
I thought he'd bring more than that.
Absolutely. So that's what I mean. Yeah, people are speculating on $1 million, but it's just not there. I mean, if it was a Hemi CUDA, maybe.
Right.
But like I said, it's a 6-pack automatic car. It's extremely early build, like first day availability. It's so early built. If you see in the video, the fender tag, which on Mopars is right on the driver's side air fender, the fender tag has a 69 CUDA VIN, and the VIN tag, which is the legal one, is the correct 70. But it's so early, that's how it got mixed up. So it's a press car, it's an early build, it's a shaker car, it's the RTS CUDA. But man, I mean, I hope for the best.
How many miles?
967 miles.
And that's going to be, when is that? What's that date? Do you know when that date's going to be? I don't know what.
Next May in June. I can look it up.
That's close enough. May, and it's going to be in which auction?
Indianapolis.
It's going to be at Mecum Auction in Indy.
It's a big one.
That's going to be a Saturday night card then, right?
No, that will probably be a. I can't say why I know this, but it will be a Friday night car.
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, it's a long story.
Well, I'm gonna watch that. I'm gonna watch that.
Oh yeah, no, I'm hoping to be there to do like a part B to my video because also I have some new information that's come to light on the car from a news source, which still working out the details, but I'm hoping that there will be a part 2 to the story or part 3, depending on how you go about it.
See you,
How
Tim.
about this? This will be your
Timmy
part.
B has to go.
Oh, don't go!
Bye,
Don't
Tim
go!
B.
Take it easy, Tim.
Please don't go.
How you going, Fox? Fox says hi, everyone.
Did Fox chase Timmy out? Is that what happened?
Yeah.
Ryan, that would have been a good car to have at the barn finds at McCacken.
Yeah. Well, it wouldn't have been in barn finds. It would have been probably one of the primary display cars up in the front because of its rarity and the Steve. Because it's a really sad story, but it's a good one, I guess. The whole thing is Steve Giuliano was this big Mopar collector, and he collected 3 of the 4 cars and restored them. And he fought cancer for many years, and he was able to go to the 2017. I helped organize the Muscle Car and Corvette National Show in Chicago, and on one of his last wishes was to get his 3 RTS cars to the show. So unfortunately, he passed away in 2017. In 2018, we made that possible. We got 3 cars there and displayed them together for the second to last time, because after that they were sold at Mecum auction the next year, and 2 went to one collector and 1 went to another. But we have a lot of history with Steve Giuliano, so we would love to have had the RTS, and maybe we will. Whoever gets the car in the future, we'd love to have it back at the show or have it at the show and maybe get all the cars together.
Oh man, look what he just said.
Okay, so old car says the spectrum is moving forward. Older guys aren't buying the stuff as much, and the newer guys have different likes. The Burt Reynolds car looked a little cheesy to the new current generation.
They suck if they don't like Burt Reynolds cars, man. You kidding
All right,
me?
we also Fox.
This dang millennials, man. That's what's wrong with the millennials.
Fox Can Fix It Garage has said is it a Friday night car because in Indy liquor sales and early on Saturday, I know you can't, but cold beer at gas stations in Indy, they got weird alcohol laws.
It's not because of that, but it does. A little inebriation doesn't hurt with the auctions.
No.
But I can say that isn't the reason the car is going on Friday.
Yeah, you stay off the auction sites if you've had a couple of beers.
I can see that.
That's my
The
problem.
second part to the thing. Fox Fix It spent $1 million on a Plymouth Roadrunner. I mean, cool.
And we got Gary Strutz who says, "Hi guys, good to see you guys again."
Hey, Gary.
Hey, Gary.
Okay, an old car, Indianapolis, Mecum, May the 12th through the 20th, 2023.
There you go.
These auctions are getting long. Look at that, 8 days.
Is that
man.
What, is that every day for 8 days?
Yep.
They're fun though, man. They had that one out here in Chattanooga, man. It was Mecum. I think it was Mecum. That was a blast.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that was
probably.
fun.
Mecum's the one that's the big one nowadays.
Fox says, "Give me a double bourbon."
That's the thing about it, Joe. When I'm at the auction, there's all the
Jackson.
tables and everybody sit out there that buys cars, and I'm way back in the back with my binoculars trying to see what's going on. You gotta be a money man.
What happened to the Barrett Jackson guys? They just do the one auction now?
No, they do. There was a Bear Jackson auction just this weekend in Palm Desert, Palm Beach, something like that.
I think Steve Maggs went out there today. I think he worked that one.
Yeah, he did.
Yeah.
But no, just Mecum has, because Barrett Jackson has now gone over to the History Channel of they're on History Channel and that kind of network of show. They're on the FYI channel and a few others, which I feel is dumb. But Mecum, the minute Barrett Jackson jumped the ship, they went in with Motor Trend and with the Discovery networks. So they are far more. they're selling a lot more than Barrett Jackson now. Let's just say that.
Yeah.
Really, I didn't know that. We're going to try to. I don't know if it's a waste of time, but we got this Cadillac we got built. We're going to run it when they come back to Chattanooga. We're going to run it through just for the heck. I mean, who knows?
That'd be cool. Yeah, I've been involved with Mecum since the olden days when I used to see Dana Mecum standing on the podium, and it was like a farm auction. He would just stand up at the podium, and the cars would go past him in front of it.
Yeah,
I mean, I remember him back
he
then.
He started out in the farm auctions.
Yeah, he did.
He's a farmer. I went to auctions when he was doing. He would do farm estate auctions. He'd auction off the land, the tractors.
Yep.
Everything. I mean, it was interesting because I remembered that. And his son was just little. You know, I dated myself. I remember his son was maybe 8 or 9 years old.
I remember those. Yeah. Well, I don't remember something that young. I remember going to my first one when it used to be in the first, because his indie sale used to be in Rockford, Illinois for years. And so I used to go to that, and that's where I started going to those auctions.
Well, now what else we got, Copperhead? We're getting high on our comments, I think.
We said, right, so now we put this in context. Fox can fix it says, me, give me a double bourbon. Then he says, also me, 5 minutes later, I bid $1 million.
Yeah, that's what they're hoping for.
Yeah, I guarantee it.
And then he says, History Channel, question mark. So are they going to auction ancient alien cars or porn star cars, question mark?
No, just Chinese weather balloons.
Hey,
Yeah.
I believe in aliens. I believe in aliens.
But yeah, I mean, I don't know. I thought it was a bad move for them to go to History Channel. I mean, yeah, History Channel does get more viewers on average, but the market isn't there. I mean, you want car guys to see this.
Oh, cool.
I mean, you want to be on Motor Trend or an equivalent channel, and that just isn't History Channel. I mean, 1 minute you're watching on History Channel, and then it's like, oh, go to FYI channel. It's like, I don't have FYI.
Yeah.
Why would I do that?
I don't even know where it's at.
Well, now you done a video on some cars from a guy that I know down here in Tennessee. The Charger, I mean the Superbirds and the Talladegas and all that. That's in the big.
Oh, Mike, yeah.
Teleco, right?
Yeah.
Inspiration.
You ain't supposed to say that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Great, Bill. Can't tell you anything.
Yeah.
Yeah, Mike was a very good friend of mine. Him and his family, I still talk to them quite often. And I was fortunate enough. I was actually funny. I got his phone number probably 8-9 years ago, and I was driving back from Power Tour. And so I'm like, I'm going to try to get into this place. I heard it was really cool. So I called him. He's like, yeah, I'll meet you for barbecue at this little place in the town. And we stopped, and it was pouring rain. And I don't mean like a little, I mean pouring thunder, lightning. And here we are having barbecue. He's like, come on, let's go over to the warehouse. Drove over to the warehouse. You can see in my very first video, you can hear it in my video. I mean, it's just thundering and lightning, and it's a big metal warehouse, so it's echoing. Oh, it was such a neat experience.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Stories, man. He had some cool stories, but
yeah, I mean, rest in peace, unfortunately.
I really didn't know he had passed away. I went through and I thought, well, I'm gonna stop by and see what they're doing. And I got there and his son come out. I didn't even know his boy at all. And he said, can I help you? And I told him what I was doing. And he said, well, Dad passed away. I had no idea he did. But anyway, he got some cool stuff, man.
Yeah, 2020 passed away. He got the COVID, and it did what it was doing. It killed his lungs, and he passed away from it.
Yeah. Yeah.
But Mike, I was fortunate enough to get a whole bunch of his stories on, at least in some form of media. I had some on video.
Man. He had some neat stuff to talk about, especially the way he gathered all them cars up and all that kind of stuff.
I mean, did you know he worked at Holman Moody in '69 shaving Talladegas? I mean, it's like, wow, that's insane.
Yeah.
I was very fortunate to be able to spend time with him when I was going through the area, and he was always gracious and caring. And
he's a good old boy. But now you're in Chicago, right? Or where you at?
I am. I live less than 4 or 5 miles from downtown Chicago. I can see the Sears Tower from my house.
You ever been shot at?
No.
You don't get out enough then.
Because, I mean, just with any big town, yeah, there are some bad parts of town, but when you have like 8 million people in 20 square miles, Yeah, there's some bad parts, but 99% of Chicago is absolutely fine.
Yeah.
I mean, I've legitimately walked downtown Chicago at 3 o'clock in the morning taking pictures, and other than there's, homeless, I've never been bothered.
My mom is 82 years old, walks a mile every day right around Lincoln Square with a walker. Nobody's mugged her or shot her yet.
Yeah. So I mean, yeah. I'm a journalist, so I understand how sensationalism works, and just with any city. I mean, any big town. The crime drives people to watch, and not the happy news. It's always the bad news. So that's why they always really promote that.
That's why I have 4,000 subscribers. Bad news.
Yeah, something. You've had some cool stuff. Now I'm gonna tell you one of the cars you did a video on, which I ain't got to watch it yet. Was that AMX3, that prototype?
Oh, yeah, man, that was a really neat story. I did that. I had been hunting that car for years. I even talked to the father and son. They were up in upper northern Michigan at the time.
Right.
And do you want to talk about bad timing? I was going to go see the car. I forget what year. It's like 2017, 2018. So I was in Michigan for the Woodward Dream Cruise. I did the roadkill nights, and then I was there for the whole week for work. Woodward Dream Cruise was Saturday. Sunday, I was going to drive and go see the car. Saturday night, the guy died. The father died.
Wow.
It was like poop. I was like, oh, that's the way my luck works. And then the son never wanted to do anything with the car. And then 2 or 3 years later, my friend bought it. I'm like, wow, okay.
Oh, really?
And yep. And now it's being fully restored from top to bottom.
Very cool.
So they're gonna restore it.
Oh yeah. If you go, he has a website like amx3.com or something like that.
Right.
They are doing computer scans of it, and they're like doing computer drafting, and they're restoring the thing because it was the prototype. It was the very first one ever produced. So they're putting it back to as built condition.
Now, if I remember right, that one had it like when you hit the gas, the taillights glowed green. When you let up on it, they turned yellow. And when you hit
No,
the
that's the one after. I think that was before. This is the after one.
I don't know about that. That's not from whatever I heard.
That was a Ford you're talking about there, I think.
Pantera's? Because it looks like a Pantera.
No, I think the one he's talking about was a Ford prototype.
Okay.
I know one of them.
I know what you're talking about. It had the lights that go all the way down. I think that was a Ford.
It was gridded across the back kind of thing. And it might have been the Cougar prototype.
You're talking about all this speed channel stuff and everything like that. I reckon Finnegan, he quit faster with Finnegan. I reckon he resigned or quit that. He's done with all that. Said he's going back home, spend time with the family, which I don't blame him for that. I guess they keep him pretty busy doing that. But
absolutely. Actually, I was just talking to Finnegan right before this. We're going to be doing some stuff when I'm in town. But yeah, no, Finnegan, the production schedule with Roadkill and all that, and his work and his kids. I mean, if you follow him on social media, you can see that he's been busy with his kids because they're just getting to that age where he can start doing stuff with them, and he wants to be home with them.
I don't blame you for that, man. You only go around one time.
Mm-hmm.
And look, I got my kids grown; they're out. I can play now. I ain't got to worry about all that. So
exactly, but I remember Michael Keaton once said at a round table, he's like, I was making all this money, and I wanted to be a dad. And then the minute I became a dad, I wanted to be with my kids because I knew any moments with them, I would never regret what my decision was. Right. So that's why he stepped away for all those years. Yeah. Was because he knew being with his kids was the most important thing in his life at the time.
Yeah. Copperhead, where we at on comments? I keep seeing them going up, but I don't read them.
I'm trying. Aviation DNA has just scored the correct wiper switch for that Dart for $35, which if I remember was like a $400 part, wasn't it?
Yes, it was, and I hope he bought that. If he didn't buy that, he is out of my will.
He's out of the will. You're not getting nothing. Fox can fix it, says to Aviation, that's great. He also says he needs to go to the Packard Museum in Dayton. It's about an hour from him.
I have another Australian friend, and we were in Detroit, and he's like, I need to go to the Picard plant. We're like, the Picard plant, like Star Trek Picard? He goes,
Did I say that wrong?
No. Well, it's Packard.
What did I say? Didn't I say that? I don't know.
Well, it's Packard.
He said Packard, and it rolls, but it's Packard. So me and him, we're like, what are you talking about? Like the Picard plant. We're like,
Jim.
It's just funny when I hear that. I'm like, oh, that's funny.
That is a cool place, though. The museum is awesome.
Well,
It is.
You've got me confused now. Wait up. Let me focus. He's also said to you that you're just far enough out of town not to hear the gunfire.
there you go.
He said the best part of Chicago is the German U-boat and Chicago beef sandwiches.
That is
Indeed.
true.
Indeed,
That is true.
yes.
Oh, man, we've got a few. I've got to keep going. Unfinished Project has said to aviation, those are pricey.
Yeah, they
and I
are,
think
brother.
they know that. Fox and Fix It is if it's... Wait up, I've moved it in the wrong spot. If it's a Ford, the hazards are probably on continuously due to all the breakdowns.
That's true. Right, Bill?
Right, Bill, that's what I'm thinking. Say.
He's also said, a la Rick Moranis quit acting to raise kids.
Yep, he did.
Yeah.
And then we've got Old Car has said he's right and wanted smart guys to see that when you can still enjoy them, sometimes gone with your kid, it is gone.
Yeah, you're right
Yep.
about that.
Oh, I know that.
I'm
It's
lucky
actually-
enough that my kids like to do what I like to do, so we get to hang out,
Yeah.
junk cars,
Yeah.
fly airplanes, and all that.
That's
You know,
cool.
I remember when I was in my teen, my dad used to always bring me to the car shows and stuff when I was a kid. And, of course, I was big into it anyway. But I remember we were at Englishtown at the big swap meet there, and we're walking around. That's a huge swap meet. I don't know if any of you guys ever had a chance to get to that one, but it was a monster. And you can find everything there. So we're walking around, and I see this guy walking, and he's kind of like in a frenzy. He's looking and kind of a little frantic for stuff. And his wife and kids were dragging behind him. And they said, "Can we just go?" And he's, "Oh, just a couple more aisles." And I said to my dad, I said, "There's a guy that just wrecked it for his kids because they're exhausted. They're not going to go to the next one." So when my kids were getting old enough to want to go do that stuff, they always went with me when they were real little, in their car seat size and stuff. But when they started showing some interest, I would bring them to the single day events and stuff like that because I didn't want to overdose them on it, And then when they got tired and they wanted to go, we would go, that like not like drop everything, run to the car kind of thing, but it was like, okay, you could see it. And I didn't want to overdose them on it because I didn't want to make it seem like, man, every time I go to that, dad just keeps us there all day and it's exhausting. And I'm glad I did that because both my kids like to go with me now.
No, that's smart.
Well, now, do you know you're up there in that part of the country, Joe Spagnoli? I guess I'm saying it right. Joe, do you know Joe?
Yep, I know Joe Spagnoli all too well.
Well, he's down here now. He's in Florida, brother.
Well, he has his place still up here. He's got a little warehouse with that he used to have a lot of his Hearst Olds collection in. And he still has it. But he sold some of them, yeah. But he's kept still a handful. He's still got like the Hemi under glass and all that over here.
Yeah, I think he's gonna keep that.
Yeah,
I don't know, but anyway, he's in Florida. I don't know if he's gonna bring him down because he said the taxes and stuff up there just keeping them things stored is about to kill him.
I don't doubt that in the least.
Yeah. So, but he's in sunny. Can you imagine being Chicago straight to sunny Florida? Don't you know he's burning slap up?
Oh man, I can't imagine going on. I mean, I've been in Florida enough, and the humid. I'm fine with heat, but it's the freaking humidity that kills you.
Yeah.
And the hurricanes, they'll kill you too. So
as long as you're underground.
Unfinished project. Can't see Fox Fix its comments. It's probably because this is getting shared onto 4 different channels at the same time, mate. So he's probably on mine. We've got Buck Does It. Hello, everyone. How you going, Buck?
hey, boss.
Unfinished project says, or old car. He's talking to old car guy. Discover Finder. Weird. Fox can fix it. My youngest daughter wanted the Dodge Raider project that I recently picked up, so I surprised her with it one day after school.
Well, that's cool. Yeah.
That's neat.
Unfinished project. They're just talking about it themselves there. Auto Salvage Outlaws says Buck Does It. Hello.
Hello, Buck.
And then Buck Does It says, oh yeah, that's the Auto Salvage Outlaws. See, I'm getting with this now. ASO. Auto Salvage Outlaws.
Rocket, baby, rocket. We got.
Hey. And they're just, I'll just flick them up. They're just talking through themselves. ASO, we're gonna have to change the channel name. Maybe I said something wrong there.
It's okay. Well, now, let me ask you another question.
We're still going. We got a heap here. Fox can fix it. Well, hurricanes are just really angry humidity.
Yeah, that's true.
It's true.
Auto Salvage Outlaws, unfinished project, might have to. Oh, yeah. And then they're changing his name to Casso, so I don't know. I must have said something with the C there. Anyway, all right, we're up to date.
You did a story on that turbine car.
Oh, yes. The Chrysler turbine car from 1963.
But that's how many of them are left?
7. Now, it's funny. There are 7 of the ones that you know about, like the turbine bronze one. What they don't tell you is there was 13 prototypes that are unknown. Right. Nobody knows what happened to them. Like there's an 83 Imperial that had a turbine. There's all these other ones. And supposedly they're in the Dodge like secret bin somewhere or a secret warehouse somewhere, but no one's been able to verify it.
That would be something to come up with. And I know that Jay Leno's got one. He's got.
Yep. He has one of the because the Chrysler Museum in Detroit had 3 of them at one time. 2 that ran, or 1 that ran, 2 that didn't, and then he bought one of the non-running ones. But the cool thing is the engine that's in the turbine cars was actually used in military transport trucks in the like late 50s, early 60s. So you can get parts for them. And that's what he did. He bought an old, military transport, took the engine out, rebuilt the one that was in the car, and he had a running, driving car again.
I just think they're cool, man. I just think they're cool as they can be. Now, if you ever go to Jay Leno's garage, now that we've been on live stream, man, you're like this. I'm going to wee. I'm going to go wee.
Yeah, actually, if you saw my social media, me and Jay Leno got to talk a little bit. A month ago now, when we were at the Dodge Demon unveiling event.
Oh yeah, that was cool.
That was a lot of. Yeah, you actually see me and Jay Leno when they did some of the overviews. He's talking to the camera, and you see me just to the right in a giant high visibility vest. It's pretty funny.
Yeah, Jim Sullivan, he knows him or knows his people, and I don't even care if he's there or not. I just like to walk through and see his stuff. You know what I'm saying? I mean,
absolutely. Yeah. I have an invitation to check it out, but I haven't been on that side of the West Coast in 20 years, so I have a lot of stuff that I want to check.
I mean, he got blowed up, and then he had a motorcycle wreck, and then they canceled him. I'm talking, man, kick a man when he's down,
Yeah, but have you ever heard what he does with his money?
Yeah, he buys junk cars. He's a redneck like me and you, man.
I mean, yes and no. But no, the interesting thing is he took all the money he made on the Tonight Show and just put it in the bank. He never touched it. Right. All the money he lived off of, all the millions, was all from personal, like when he would go do, commercial shows or, when he would do his comedy show. That's all the money they lived off of was from that. So he has millions of dollars saved up from the Tonight Show just sitting there for him to live on. So I think he'll be okay.
Yeah, but I still kick. It's feelings, man. They don't think about his feelings. But he's a comedian. People don't care about comedians' feelings.
They don't.
Fox can fix it. One of them is probably behind a wall right next to James Dean's wrecked Porsche.
Yeah, they've lost it too. There's something else you need to find.
Yeah.
And then he says, "Oh, good. Give an 18-year-old Army private a jet-powered truck. Great idea, Uncle Sam."
I think so. I'm cool with that.
Unfortunately, it didn't work out. The reason the Chrysler car never took off is it produced about the same amount of power as a 318 Mopar, but with far worse fuel economy. Even though it could burn anything that burned, it got horrible fuel economy, so that's why they killed it.
Don't you think with technology today, though, they could figure that out?
Maybe. I mean, really, there's another step beyond we need to go to, because, yeah, it would work, but just think, that thing spins at 50,000 RPM.
Yeah.
I mean,
and
the exhaust. I mean, yeah, I've worked with a running turbine, and if you put your hand behind the exhaust, it's not that hot because they have all these heat radiators in the exhaust to take the heat out of it. But like I said, it's power for thrust, like in a jet the jet engine. There's no torque because it's not made for that. It's too the speed's there, but it's not. It can't translate it to rolling power. That's why no one else makes. That's why remember they had that jet powered car that Jay Leno actually owned.
Yeah,
it came out like 10, 20 years ago now.
Yeah.
And nothing since. It's because it's not a practical engine for something that only goes at top 100 miles per hour.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, it burns everything, but meh.
Copperhead, you've got to read that.
I have. Fox Can Fix It also says Jay Leno saves money on his clothes. That's because he only wears the one denim outfit.
Do you know
That's
why
how
he
he's
only
rich.
wears that?
That's
Why?
all he's got. Bless his heart, he can't afford anything else. Let's start a GoFundMe for him.
Yeah. No, the reason he wears the same outfit all the time is because if he has to shoot something on multiple days, if he's
They
always
always
wearing
look
the
the
same
same,
thing,
yeah.
it will always be the continuity's there.
Oh, yeah.
That's why
Yeah,
TV
I do
shows and
that
all
with
that.
my
So that's why he
t-shirts. I
always
wear
wears the same
shirt.
outfit.
That makes sense.
You can blend the days all in. Fox Can Fix It also says, also the Abrams tank is jet powered and it goes through fuel like you wouldn't believe. Idling for 4 hours, it will run out of gas.
Wow.
Jeez. I didn't know that.
Don't doubt that.
That sounds like my Crown Vic out there. You're allowed for
Oh,
400.
you're going to say
That's how my Willie's is.
Hey, Ryan,
600.
are you
Yeah,
all
Bill?
are you all full now for the upcoming barn finds thing at McCacken, or do you still have openings?
No, we still have openings. We're only, I think, at the last sign up, because usually in my barn find display at McCacken, which is the Muscle Car and Corvette Nationals here in Chicago, I'm usually around 20 cars, and I think as of right now we're at like 10 or so.
Okay.
Because what happens with barn finds is people don't know until later in the year if they're going to start restoring a car or not. So we always have a few spots open just for that kind of stuff. But we already have SE Scrambler. We got some Hemi cars coming. We got a Shelby coming. We got a really cool custom Corvette coming. So we got a bunch of cool stuff planned. And that's just barn finds.
Right.
I mean,
I
up
don't
in
know
the front,
what y'all
it's going to
talking
be
about.
crazy.
Fill me in on what y'all talking about. I'm out of the loop here.
Well, there's a car show in Chicago called the Muscle Car and Corvette Nationals. If you've read any, I mean, back when there used to be magazines, it's the #1 muscle car show in the country. Like for quality and quantity of cars. I mean, if you think of any rare car like muscle car, excuse me, it's there. We've had everything from concepts to show cars to we had the very first Shelby Mustangs ever produced. Like VIN #1 and VIN #2,
Wow.
they were there. We had the back in 2015, we had 23 of the 40 Hemi convertible E-bodies there, and they were all we only have 99% real cars, so there's no clones, there's no tributes unless they're in a special area. But if you ever want to go to a show that it's the best in the world, I mean, we have guys who ship cars over from Australia over in containers. That's how come that's where I met my friend. He was in Detroit bringing some cars over, and that's when we went and saw the Picard plant. But I mean, any car you can think of, exactly. I mean, Bill worked the show last year, and he's been a part of it in the past with his daughter Ashley has a '64 Comet that he claims is his. She brought it to the barn find display back in 2014 or 2015, and
the sign
it's
right there
always a
in the
blast.
background. Here's the sign.
Yep, there it is. But and the cool thing is, it's not in like Chicago proper. It's in this town called Rosemont, which is right next to O'Hare Airport. So if you ever want to come like see the show and you're from out of town, what people do is you can fly into O'Hare Airport and you take a shuttle right to the show. You never have to go outside. It's amazing.
Oh, that'd
Yeah,
be
the
cool.
hotels are connected to the.
He froze.
It's like a habit trail. You don't even have to go outside. You go in the hotel, walk through a little habit trail, and you're right in the show.
Well, now he's asking if you got any openings. Are you planning on taking that to Pontiac, Phoenix, or whatever it is?
Oh, yeah. No, we have that. It's that they're trying to decide. We got wheels and tires and everything on that golden anniversary SS Impala.
Oh, yeah.
So I don't
That's
know if
cool.
that would qualify. I don't. He's got it up for sale.
You know, what do you have that? What qualifies it as a barn find? Like he
Well,
doesn't find work.
It's not just a barn find; it's barn finds and hidden gems. So it can
Okay.
be anything that's just been like basically sitting neglected for a long period of time.
Okay.
Because we've had cars that are garage finds or that look like they're brand new, but they have
Attic
been sitting
finds.
for 40 years.
Okay. So my
Steve's
T-Bird
got
would
hundreds
qualify.
of them.
Well, do they have to be in good shape, or it can be any shape?
Oh no, they can be. We had cars there that literally the front ends fell out of them, rolling into the building.
Oh, really?
We had a Barracuda that we had to put on dollies because the front end rusted through and the engine fell, and we had to put it on dollies back in like 2018 just to be able to get it around. But it has to be complete. Like it can't be, unless it's a race car or something really unique. It has to be a complete car.
Okay. That makes sense.
Like, yeah, because we had one that like the guy had forgot to put. It was a fiberglass drag car. And it was actually a famous one called the Big Noise from Illinois. It was a CUDA, and it was all painted. It was all original. And the guy put it in his trailer, and I guess he took the front end and he put it next to it so he could ratchet it down, and then forgot to put it in the trailer.
Oh, no.
So here's this car. It looks great on the back end, but the front end's just gone. So it's like, well, we can't put it, rear end back outward, because then you're seeing the tail lights, and it just didn't work. And so yeah, we now make it so that it has to be a complete car. That way, you know what you're looking at.
Right. Well, that sounds like a cool show. I might.
It
You
is.
going back
I'll
up
be
there?
there. I'll
going
be
Yeah.
there.
Bill did videos of it. I've done videos of it. I mean, like I said, I'm not even talking about. You're looking at the best cars in the world for muscle cars, and from factory drag cars. We had a row of I think 12 or 13 Super Duty Catalinas. We had Hemi Cudas. Last year we had, well, Bill knows, like Daytonas. We had 50 Daytonas and Superbirds lining the rows. It was absolutely incredible.
Well, now you lean towards Mopars. Are you kind of a Mopar man? Is that what you do, or you just?
Yeah, I do bleed Mopar blue, but I appreciate all muscle cars. I appreciate all cars and people who have a passion for cars.
I'm with you on that.
But I do. I have a 71 Challenger that I'm restoring right now. I have a 2009 Challenger RT with 260,000 miles on it. I have
So that lime green Challenger that you're doing, is that in one of your really old videos?
No. That one
you actually seen it in a paddock or whatever? No, it's not the same one.
No, I've never done a video. I've done some videos on parts videos a long time ago, but I've never done a video on that car. That was before my barn finding adventures for the most part. It came from it was a complete car and it ran, and it was a real.
Okay, because I've seen one like years and years and years ago you did, and there was a lime green Challenger in the video. I just thought, I wonder if that's the same car.
No, that was. I actually just posted the picture here recently. I did find a Citron yellow 71 Challenger RT in a junkyard in Michigan, and it's like that pulled at my heartstrings. Here was this car that had all these rare, because 71s were unique.
Yeah.
1 year all to themselves for the most part, and here was this complete car just sitting here rusting away. It hurt to look at that thing.
I'm gonna fix it someday.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm gonna do that. Now, you did a video on that car that everybody cried over, the Hurricane Superbird or whatever.
Yep.
They're fixing. I think they're fixing that car, ain't they?
Yep, I've done one update. So I did the first one because actually that's all my fault. Everything that happened with the car after the hurricane was because of me. And Tuesday, I'm going to the shop to go do a new update on the car, which will probably come out next month. Not this coming Monday, but the Monday after. And yeah, no, that is the Hurricane Superbird. What had happened was it got flipped back over. The guy put it in his garage, and he was so pissed off, he sold it to a friend of mine. And so my friend's like, hey, who do you recommend restoring Superbirds? And I'm like, oh, well, this guy has restored like 20 of them. I recommend him. And he's like, okay, I'll send it there. I'm like, wow, okay, really? So it was like Monday he calls me and asks me the question. This is right before the McCacken show. So Monday he asked me who to restore it. Tuesday it was in a trailer on its way to Illinois. Thursday, we had it in the building in Chicago for the show.
Right.
And by the Monday afterwards, they were already stripping the car to go send it to the media, to the, it's not acid, but it's a paint stripper place.
Right.
So
now, that guy that had that car, they actually had two. Didn't he have? He had a Superbird and something else.
Yeah, he actually had four to begin with. He had two other Daytonas. Well, he had three Daytonas and the Superbird, and he got two of them out of there. And when he went back for the other two, they had initiated the evacuation order, and they wouldn't let him pull them out again. The last two. That's why he put them on the car lifts as high as they could go, hoping that the storm surge wouldn't bother them. And they both fell off the lifts, and the Superbird got flipped over.
No.
Yeah.
I know everybody in the world was crying over that, man.
Yeah. I mean, and it's a real number. The Superbird, especially, that's a numbers matching 446 pack 4-speed Superbird, and it's the engine. It had been restored sometime in the 90s or the 2000s, and it wasn't real great, like restored. You can see in the second video where they had like drilled holes in the nose to pound it out from an accident.
Right.
But the Daytona fared better, thankfully, because it never flipped over. But yeah, that Superbird, I mean, of all cars that happened to, it happened to the Superbird. But it's all crazy. But if you look at the pictures, the wings, it shows you how strong those wings are.
Oh,
the wings were fine. It's the quarter panels that crushed underneath the weight.
Yeah.
So people always complain about women sitting on the wing and, it's going to break something. No.
That wing made all the difference in the world. That's the thing. It had a lot of downforce on it. You know that. What is it?
Mm-hmm.
That Super Cobra. What was it? Super Cobra that Ford made the Torino.
The King Cobra.
The King Cobras.
And they because they didn't have a wing on the back of them. They had so much downforce on the front. They said they were scary to drive. Of course, I'm sure they'd have probably put a wing on it if NASCAR hadn't changed all the rules and regulations and all that kind of stuff. But
yeah, the two King Cobras and then the Mercury Cyclone 2. Yep. Those were really neat cars. And the funny thing is, it wasn't Richard Petty's favorite either. Like, he liked his... The funny thing is, the next generation of B-body Mopars were actually better aerodynamically than the Superbirds and the Daytonas.
No kidding.
Yeah.
I don't know, man. You'll have to prove that to me, because I've heard Richard Petty say he loved the Charger Daytona.
No, well, he never drove the Daytona.
I mean, the Plymouth.
He had the Superbird.
Right.
But his favorite car was his 73 Charger.
He liked the 73?
Yeah, he loved his 73. He said that was the best car he ever drove.
Right.
The Superbird, though, he's always said was funny because the wings are so strong, and if you ever got a little sideways in it, it acted like an air dam. So it would start going sideways, and the wing, yeah, there we go. There's the 73. That's awesome. But yeah.
Fox can fix it. It says any barn find Crosley trucks or panel wagons this year?
Unfortunately, we're not doing any Crosley trucks in the muscle car and Corvette Nationals. But I do know a friend of mine that has 15 Crosley trucks and cars, and he made one of the very first Crosley. He took two Crosley 4-cylinders and made a V8 out of it.
No kidding.
Yeah.
Wow.
I know another guy that's into the Crosleys. If you're looking for one, if there are parts, I know a guy that might be able to help you out.
There you go, Fox. And Fox also says, have you ever gotten to see the old Bugatti from the lake in Europe?
I have not. I have heard of that car. I have seen pictures of it. But isn't it in like England or France or somewhere on display?
I don't know.
Do some research on that, Fox, and tell us. Rob Schneer, I'll say that right, Bill.
Very good.
Schneer. Barn finds and hidden gems is my favorite part of the muscle car show in Rosemont.
Oh, thank you. Glad you enjoy it.
That would be my thing, Barn. That's what I'd want to come see.
He has also said, Ryan, what is your daily driver?
Right now, when it's not the winter, I drive my 2009 Challenger RT Classic in blue.
And then, when it's snowing outside, what do you drive?
I have Bill knows this one. He's seen it.
I'm
actually. It was okay. Funny story about that in a minute. I have a 1990 Dodge Grand Caravan, the last of the very first generation of Dodge minivans, wood grain sides, that has the big 3.3 liter V6, Great little van when it runs right. But you guys ever read Hemming's Muscle magazine?
Oh, yeah.
No.
Yep.
Well, there's in the magazine they have a picture of my barn find display before we had finished setting it up, and because we do set up Thursday, Friday for the show, and then the show is Saturday, Sunday, and so for some reason they took a picture of the display with all the cars just stacked in there, whatever way, and my minivan's in the back corner. So here is this picture in Hemming's Muscle of all these muscle cars and my minivan.
I
Well,
got,
it's rare.
what is mine? I got a 92, I think it is. 92 little Dodge.
Yep.
SE, white with
That
the
could
black trim. And
Yep, that's a second generation Dodge minivan. Those were a lot better than my piece of junk.
yeah, mine's got, I don't remember. I think it's a 92 or 93 or something.
That could be.
Anyway, it's a minivan. I don't feel real cool when I drive it, but it's killer gas mileage.
You
That's
look
what I'm
cool in
saying.
anything, Stephen.
Yeah, you do. Yeah, I do. What can you say?
You know what's funny though?
Boxes.
I have people who are like, "Man, that minivan is so cool because it's the squared one. It's like the original minivan from the 90s and 80s."
Okay, so
I
that's
have-
everybody.
Yeah, it's literally a square body. People go up to me like, "I remember these minivans when we were." I can tell you, I've had tons of people at gas stations like go and be like, "I remember my mom had this minivan. My dad had this minivan. I haven't seen one of these in 30 years." I'm like, well, there's a reason for that.
Yeah.
No, I have no love for minivans.
Mine ain't got but about 112,000 miles on it. Runs good.
Yep.
Fox can fix it. Any truth to the tale of a handful of 92 Dodge Dakota convertibles being made in
Yes.
91 or 92? Any
Yeah,
truth
there's a
to the
ton.
tale?
I don't know about 89. I think was when they made the convertible because it was on the original Dakota platform with when they still had the glass headlights.
Right.
There was absolutely a Dakota convertible made.
There is one here.
I
in
think
this
he's just
town,
saying in
and-
They
those
just wondered
years.
about 92s only.
Yeah,
Like,
92s, I
if
think.
there was any 92s made. I don't know that for sure.
I've
There's
never
one
heard
in
of a
town.
92.
I'm trying my best to buy one. I can get
They're
it.
neat, but
Yeah.
the thing that sucks about them is the V6s that they had, they were the 3.9 V6 non-Magnum engine. So they had like 110 horsepower in this V6 with a throttle body injection that was garbage. When they went to the Magnum engine in like 92, 93, far better improvements all the way through.
Yeah.
What was it that
Okay.
Dulcich bought? Didn't Dulcich buy like he bought a Charger, one of those 90s Chargers, didn't he?
No, I don't remember a Charger. He had a 73 Charger that they're going to do on an upcoming Roadkill Garage on.
No, he was embarrassed to say. I thought it was a. It was a.
He
90s,
bought a Corvette.
Huh?
He has a Corvette, a newer Corvette now.
No, it was a 90s Mopar. He was either like a Shelby. I think it was a Shelby, wasn't it?
Could be. They made Shelby Mopars from like 87 through 89. Like they had the Charger Shelby. They had the Goes Like Hell, and
I got 85. I think I got 85 Shelby.
I thought I saw him
Fox
on
can fix
somewhere.
it. Has said apparently that Bucati is in the Mullen Automotive Museum in Oxnard, California.
cool. I had no idea.
Yeah.
I would love to see it though.
So now let me ask you a question. I'm being a little nosy. I mean, you've
good.
been in this long enough where you're running with the guys from Roadkill and all that. You got people calling you now and say, "Hey, look, man, I got this car. Come check it out." I mean, or you have to dig and look and find and hunt.
I do everything. I wrote for Hot Rod Magazine for 8 years, so I had people dropping me lines all the time on stuff that they know about or they have. And yeah, I mean, I don't have people per se calling me,
Right.
but there's definitely stuff that comes in all the time with, oh, I know this or I know that, and I have this, I have that.
Right.
But it's only one aspect of what I do. I still much prefer doing it the more hands-on approach. Like me and Bill, just a few years ago, we went and drove around. I mean, looking at old cars that he knew about, that I knew about, just putting around.
Yeah, and it's that's the fun way to do it because we literally stumbled across stuff. You
I
just
do
hit the
that.
back roads.
Yeah, I do
Yep.
that.
I tell you, I think one of the things that makes your videos is that it gives us all hope that stuff's not all foul.
It don't mean, I keep thinking this. He's getting all the goods. He's getting all the goods. That's what I'm thinking. What the heck? Why not me? Why
No, I
can't
mean,
I find
he's not going out buying it all. It's just cool to know that stuff's still hiding out there. It's not all been discovered and used up already. You know.
But if you look, I've looked at his laptop, and on his laptop he's got pinpoints, different colors and different stuff.
Yeah.
And if you look and convert that into miles driven, literally, I'd say 2/3 of the country is covered in red, blue, yellow, and green.
Yeah,
those are all places he's literally driven. He's got an investment in miles. There it is.
Holy
Right?
crow.
Wow. In a minivan, y'all. He did that in a minivan.
No, that wasn't. I will say some of it. I mean, that was all. That was in
GoFundMe.
Yeah. I mean, trust me. If I could afford a truck, I would definitely be driving a truck. I mean, but it is legit. Every story that I ever hear about a car, every lead I have, it goes on my map for a future follow up. And it's all color coordinated. And I'm also into other stuff. Like I'm into trains. I'm into airplanes. I'm into older motorcycles. I mean, so my map is it's a map. I mean, it's literally like when going to Power Tour, I'm going to be hitting up 12 different stops, 12 different pins on the way down and following up on them because I can, but I've been working on this map now. It's got something like 2,000 different points of interest, and I've been working on it for 10 years.
That's cool.
But it allows me the opportunity to see and find a lot of stuff in a very short amount of time.
Yeah. I'm into planes, man. I got 2 boys that's pilots. They're pilots. Hopefully
you said you're into trains. Have you been to the National Train Museum?
I'm sorry, which train museum? Which one?
The
National Steamtown, USA in Pennsylvania.
Oh, no, never been to Steam
USA in Pennsylvania.
Nope, never been there. But I've been to the largest railway museum in the country is here in Illinois called the Illinois Railway Museum. I've been to probably 20 or 30 different railway museums, and being an airplane guy, you'd appreciate it. Just north of me, near Rockford, a friend of mine named Mike is restoring a B-17 bomber in a barn.
Oh, that would be awesome! In a barn.
In a barn. If you watch the video, it's legitimately. I have a video. I take my camera and I show outside. It's literally cornfield, barn. You open up the door. There's the bomber. It's like wow.
We went to Oshkosh last year, and then we went down to Lakeland to the air show this year in Florida. And I'm all about. I cannot imagine having that in a barn. That barn would have to be huge, man.
It is huge. He's got it on a video. It's one of your videos, isn't it? Right?
Yeah, I have a video from a year or so ago on that car.
You go to a car show and it's like, do not touch, don't lean on, don't touch this car. I mean, don't touch. You go to an air show and it's like, get in, pull the handle, slide out, sit on the fender. They don't care.
Yeah. That's actually funny how I found the car, how I found the B-17. Because, I mean, how often do you hear about a B-17 bomber being restored in a barn?
Never. That's the first.
I was down the road looking at 3 Tri-5 Chevys in an old shed, and they were 4 doors. They weren't anything special, really. Inline 6 cars. They were cool, but not like, oh my god. And the guy goes, "Do you know what's next door?" And I go, "No, what's next door?" He goes, he laughs at me. He goes, "Go next door, knock on the door, tell them that you're here to see the project." And I'm like, that's weird. It sounds like, I'm going to not end up alive out of this. But I did. So I drove down the road and I pull up and there's a guy smoking. And there's 2 big doors. And then there's like a regular door in the door. There's a guy smoking outside the little door. And I pull up and I go, "Hey, how's it going?" He goes, "Good. What's going on?" I'm like, weird thing. This guy down the road said I should come here and see this project. I don't know what he's talking about or what's going on, but he said I'd be interested in it. And he looks at me and goes, "You don't know what's in here?" I'm like, I have no idea whatsoever. He goes, puts out his cigarette, goes, "Follow me." Opens the door, walks through, and I walk through, and just to your right, there's the B-17. And I'm like,
that's awesome.
Huh. That's something you don't see every day. And it looks like any other regular old barn, but it was and it's cool because the wings were upright in the back, and there's engines lined up along the one wall. Wow. I mean, it brings me goosebumps just thinking about it.
Wow, I don't know, man. That's cool. I went in John's barn. He's got barn. He's got like sunlights in there. I never seen him. Neat.
Yeah. For some reason, I was trying to pull up the picture of it, but I found it. Enemy power sun.
Fox can fix it. Mid-Atlantic Air Museum is restoring a P-61 Black Widow. He's been following it for years. And he also says it puts the lotion on the skin or else it gets the project again.
That's funny.
Right.
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of really cool projects going on out there. And I don't know if you follow airplanes. Did you see that they might be making it so B-17s can't fly anymore because the air struts that are cracking and they're so expensive to rebuild. It's like they said for one set it's gonna be like a few $1 million to have them rebuilt, so they might ground all current flying B-17s.
Well, if someone's got the money to do it right, then who's to tell them they can't fly it? You know what I mean?
Yeah, I don't know.
I agree.
There's a lot to aviation when it comes to rebuilding planes, especially old.
My grandfather, he was a squadron leader for B-17s during World War II. And,
oh, that's cool.
I asked him one time, I said, "Did you ever get shot down?" And he said, "Nope, I've been shot up, but never shot down." His first plane had over 2,000 holes in it, and they just gave him a new plane. So,
wow.
Yeah, he flew 39 missions and 39 bombing missions over Germany. But he said the scariest part of the war was flying the planes to the junkyard after the war.
Oh,
he'd be flying, also the motor would quit, and this engine would catch on fire, and he said that was like more death-defying than actually flying the bombing missions themselves.
But y'all know that you're talking about planes and stuff like that. That Law Squadron, y'all remember that with the P-38s and
I know an owner of one of those.
Well, no, there's a lady here that her family's the one. The Epps family is the one that dug that thing up. I know you've heard of Epps Aviation. They've got a
Glacier Gal.
Yeah, that's it.
Yep. Well, that's one of them. They brought up a whole bunch of airplanes now through the years, but the Glacier Gal, the P-38, was the one that was the famous one from the documentaries. And
well,
all
her
that.
family actually is one that the Epps family. They actually dug it. She lives here in Hayesville, and yeah, it's really cool.
I might be wrong, but one of them was bought by a former boss of mine and is sitting at an airport in DuPage County.
Well, is that the Glacier Girl?
It was one of the planes that are frozen in the glaciers they took out. He was an investor. He bought one of the planes. And they're rebuilding it, but it's not like the only thing they really saved out of it was the landing gear, the engines, the gauge. Everything else is being rebuilt.
Mm-hmm. Well, they brought the Glacier Girl up. I know about the same thing, but I think it's flying now, I believe.
Yeah.
Yeah, Glacier Gal's a flying. It's one of the only, because there's only like 5 P-38s that still exist in flying condition right now.
Yeah.
I know P-38's my favorite airplane probably ever, and I've never seen one in person flying.
I don't know. I like the Warthog pretty good, man. I love the Warthog. That's a cool plane. Yeah.
Mustangs are good. I've seen a few of them.
Corsair, man. Patrick Bollington, all about the Baba Black.
Oh, yeah. I was just watching that yesterday. I love that show.
Yeah.
Oh man, the Corsairs are such great planes. What was it? I just found another. There's a friend of mine in Pennsylvania. He's big into military auctions. Right. So I pull up onto his property for the first time, and to my left is an F-86 Sabre in his 1 yard, and on the other side's an which one's the Vietnam era
F4
Phantom? Yeah, it's an F4 Phantom, and now he's bought another one, and it's in his backyard.
That's the kind of guy I like to hang out with right there. That's we sound like we could be good friends. Yeah.
Yeah, and he has legitimate, like, he'll have there's pictures of it, like Hemi-car, like some sort of jet fighter from Canada, and then like another Hemi-car. He is the most eclectic collection I've ever seen.
Is he up north or down south?
He is
Pennsylvania.
He's in Pennsylvania.
Okay.
I forget exactly where I can tell you, Jim Kramer of Kramer Specialties. He's a Mopar parts guy. He'll show you the planes and all that. Not a problem. He's happy to show. He has JATO rockets like that he got from who in the heck knows where. I mean, he walks up and be like, here's the thruster assembly for a nuclear missile. That's like, of course. Who doesn't have that in your
I'm
storage
sorry.
unit?
I'd be like I was when I was 13 trying to drive a car out in the yard. You know, you said, I'd be in one of them planes going. I'd be living my childhood over again, man.
And the funny factor afterwards was I posted pictures of the Phantom. Well, it was like 4 or 5 years ago now. And some guy goes, "That plane looks familiar. Can you send me the serial number? You know, with like the plane number?" And we found out that guy, because it was an Army version, the guy from my Mopar board had worked on that Phantom when it was overseas in Vietnam, and he remembered working on it.
Wow.
My brother was in the military, and he was actually one of the pilots. The way they done it, they had a certain amount of pilots that went with some of the secret planes, but he was actually one of the pilots with the SR-71 Blackbird.
Oh, that's cool.
Man, that was really neat. When he was in the Air Force, he was stationed in Alaska for 3 years with that plane. But that's the way they done it. You had that plane had their mechanics, and they went where the plane went.
Yep.
And that's kind of the way they kept it all done. But that was a neat plane. He said when it's sitting on the tarmac, it's just sitting there, just pouring stuff out, just leaking.
Yep. Because they only seal up when they only seal up when they get hot, and all the metal expands, closing all the seals.
Yeah, it's crazy. That's a beautiful plane.
Same thing. They still have, I think, 2 or 3 U-2 spy planes that are still operation. They still use them today for like weather reconnaissance or something like that. And the same thing, weather reconnaissance.
I'm sorry.
But I've seen that come out of California. Oh, what was it? A few years ago. I remember seeing about that. But if you ever want to see something really crazy, go to Las Vegas when they're doing the fighter drills.
Mm-hmm.
When I was there last month, they were doing fighter drills. So you saw F-22s, F-35s, Warthogs, and then all of a sudden there was like all these foreign planes. There was a Mirage. There was all this other stuff that was flying, and they take off from the airport right next to it's right next to Las Vegas Speedway, and their departure route takes them over the Speedway. And so they go up and over, and then they go over the Speedway out to their testing range. I've never been around that in my entire life. It was incredible.
I'm gonna tell you, I might be a little bit of a tinfoil hat wearing dude sometimes, but when they tell you this is our brand new plane that we just built, and they're going to unveil it where everybody can see our high-tech spy plane. This is our new one. The reason we know about them is because it's obsolete. That's my theory.
You're absolutely right.
Yeah.
I mean, just think the F-17 fighter. The only reason it was unveiled to the public is because one of them had problems or something like that, and it had to land during daylight hours, and someone got a picture of it.
When is the SR-71? When was it built?
The 71 was from the 70s.
Yeah, and the U-2 was what years?
That was in the 60s.
Yeah, think about that now. And you don't think their technology ain't by 2023? I mean, honestly.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, they have right now a shuttle-looking thing orbiting the Earth with no crew, and they don't say what they're doing or what's going on. It's just circling the Earth and then lands, and no one knows what's going on.
Yeah.
Oh, there's absolutely stuff that they don't tell us, and I understand they got to keep their secrets.
I'm with you.
R&D Garage says, "Good evening, gentlemen." He must be talking to me. Sorry. Fox can fix it. Says PBY Black Cats so cool. And then he also says he just sent me a email of what they found at his work, and I don't know if you can see that, but that's
that's cool. Yeah,
I think that's on the concrete floor.
No kidding, that's cool.
That's really neat.
From what I can work out,
hasn't popped up yet for me.
He's got it in the picture.
He said
I see it. Okay.
Yeah.
Right, aircraft engines. Gotcha. Oh, that's cool.
Yeah,
it is cool.
Yeah,
I'm not that tech savvy to get the picture on the screen yet, and we're getting there.
But
you got it under control. You're doing it.
Hey. All right, we've kept you for an hour and 20, Ryan. So we don't want to keep you.
All right, well, it's whatever you guys are doing.
I'm sitting on a shop stool that's digging in.
We try to keep them about an hour, so we'll get you on again though if you're happy. It's been a pleasure having you on.
No,
Yeah.
I'm just kidding.
No good.
I'm kidding. This has been great, guys.
Hey, I'm gonna get him
Yeah.
to send you my number. You get down towards Georgia, let me know. There's a few things around here we can probably show you. And I don't know if you've been to. You probably know Jackie Jones, I guess.
Yeah. I know Jackie.
Yeah,
Actually, I'm gonna be in Georgia for Hot Rod Power Tour here coming up. I'm gonna actually go bother Bill and get some pancakes because the best pancakes in the world are in Chattanooga.
They are.
That is a fact. And then where in Atlanta or where in Georgia are you at?
I'm not far from Wild Bill there. I live in Georgia,
okay.
on North Georgia, up in the mountains.
That's where my Torino's getting painted.
I'm sorry.
Yeah, I'm sorry.
I'm so sorry.
Yeah,
He's bringing a Torino to the Phillips Run, Drip, and Bubble Company.
Yeah, I can't wait.
But yeah, I got a lot of adventures coming up. I'll be going, like I said, through Georgia.
Yeah.
There's a whole bunch of stuff just south of him. I'm going to be at a big swap meet coming up here this weekend in Jefferson, Wisconsin, and plenty of shenanigans ahead.
I found
I'll give you my number. You down this way, man. Hook up. Like Jackie don't live just over the hill from me. You know where Jackie.
He's got one heck of a collection.
Yeah, he's got
really cool stuff.
Have you seen his cars?
Yeah.
No, I've never been able to. My schedules have never allowed me to have the time to go see them.
He actually owned one of them. What's that car we was talking about? Ford King Cobra or whatever. He owned one of them for a while, I think.
He's got an Arizona car. He's got a prototype Mach 1 Mustang. He's got just a lot of neat memorabilia and stuff, and then he's got his own stuff at his own house that's really cool too.
But I'll tell you what, he don't have. He don't have a Pontiac Sunbird.
That's right.
That's right. He doesn't. Actually, I think the only GM he has, is a '58 Impala 348 tri-power convertible.
How many? Wait a minute, before we go, I want to ask one more question. You're an antique audio whatever the heck you are. You're a specialist in what you do.
See, the Australian
did every Chevrolet come out with the rally wheels? Were they all SS's? Because every time I go to a car show, every Chevrolet I see is a Super Sport. How many did they make Super Sports?
They didn't make nearly as many Super Sports as there are out there.
Well, see, the biggest issue with that is up until 71, I think it was, there was no real way to show what an SS was or what it wasn't. You could, there's tons of, like I said, there's more 427 Corvettes out there than were ever produced by the factory.
Yeah.
And because, like Mopars, you could tell what it is. BS23ROB, that's a 70 Hemi Cuda because it's in the VIN number. Chevy didn't do anything like that until 71. So the only way to prove its history is by having paperwork. Yeah. If it doesn't have the paperwork to back it up, 95% of the time you're going to have a clone.
Yeah.
There's a lot of there's a lot of stuff where they'll SS things and not do it all the way. And there's, if you know the car and know the details, there's a lot of stuff you can pick out and you can pick them out pretty quick.
I like the history of the car as much as I do the car, whether it's a valuable car or not a valuable car. I like to know the history, where it comes from, who owned it, because it's funny. You go to the junkyards. Every car in there, every car in that junkyard, somebody bought new at one time and took it home and showed all their friends.
Yeah, somebody liked it at least for a day.
Even the Pontiac Sunbird.
Even the Sunbird.
Even a Nissan Leaf.
No one ever said they wanted a Nissan Leaf. No one ever said that.
They won them in game shows. Bob Barker gave every Nissan Leaf away.
God, boys, it's been fun.
Yeah.
All right.
Thanks everybody for watching.
Thanks, Ryan.
Thanks for coming on, Ryan.
Thanks for having me, guys. I hope you guys had a good time.
Yep.
All right. Well, that was good. And we will see everyone next week. Me and Stephen have a show tomorrow if you want to come and join us. And we'll see you then.
All right, guys. It's been fun.
Y'all be good.